it was so funny in Weird Hills to Die On. So that's another Facebook group I'm in. It's called Weird Hills to Die On. And it's basically a group where the rules of the group, here, I'll actually pull it up so I can read the real rules because it's actually pretty fascinating. But you basically, the idea is like, the phrase, it's like, oh, I'd die on that hill or whatever. Like, oh, that's a hill I'd die on. It's
whatever thought or opinion or belief you have that might be obscure that you would fight to the death over.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a weird hill. So basically the rules is... hills in this context are statements which can be attacked and defended. Posts must be in hill format. So you basically say like hill, and then you state your weird opinion. Mm-hmm. And then you have to defend your hill within 20 minutes. You can't delete comments or posts. You can't close your own comments. You can't report to Facebook. No harassing, no doxing, no call out posts, whatever. And also do not post zuckable content, meaning like stuff that'll get us like banned or whatever. And it's funny because people will post these hills in the group. And one of them the other day that ruffled a lot of feathers was about astrology. And all these girls in the group were just like, well, I'd really like to know your exact date and time because I really think I have some opinions about you or whatever. And it was so funny.
Side note, why is it usually almost exclusively always women that are into crystals and astrology and tarot and stuff like that?
Or dudes that are trying to get in those astrology hose pants.
Yeah, I mean,
like that dude that I was just
think about back in my Christian days, whenever a dude was trying to like get with a girl who like went to Bible study and prayed and like, carried her Bible around with her. You know what he would do? Go to Bible study, pray, carry his Bible around with her.
I think it's kind of like
go on coffee dates and talk about their favorite Bible verses, even though he's like smoking cigarettes and fighting people. It's like, okay.
Well, I think it's also like the same kind of thing of like women being like more romantic and soft side and being more in touch with
more empathic.
Yeah, they're more empathic and they're more in touch with their intuitive side and like blah 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 blah.
I want to puke when people say intuitive.
And dude, I have a lot of like me and you both have a lot of like feminine energy and feminine like personality traits or whatever. Like even though both of us are like we both like work out and go to the gym and stuff, like you had like sisters growing up and stuff. Mm-hmm. So you have a lot of things about you that people will be like, oh, that's fucking gay, man.
I don't like sports. I like women's fashion. I'm really emotional. I'm super romantic. You know what I mean? Like those are just little random examples. I communicate a lot.
Yeah. And it's just funny because like I think a lot of like women gravitate towards the like spiritual stuff is again because they're just like looking for answers, and then dudes are just typically like freaking like, oh, okay, if she's into that, I guess I'm into that too.
I think naturally most men are just logical problem solvers. Like whenever a girl friend or a wife or whatever that comes to their man and it's like, I'm having this really big problem and I don't know what to do about it. And Becky said this and Joey said this. He'll listen and then give you a solution to your problem. And most of the time girls will get really upset at that. They're like, I don't want a solution to my problem. I want you to listen. And it's like, why are you telling you mean you don't want to fix this? What?
I smell misogyny, Richard. You're a fucking misogynist.
Oh, if that's what makes me misogynist, then okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I just think a lot of people get mad about you making generalizations like that, but I agree.
Facebook group. Am I a misogynist? Thank you. Let's ask that.
I know. Yeah, Hey, Facebook group, is Richard a misogynist? No.
No, but yeah, I don't know if that is a generalization, but I would definitely say that in my life experience, every time any girl has ever come to me with any type of problem and I offer a solution, I always get backlash. And
wow,
I've got
always, huh?
I mean, I literally can't think of a time where some girl has like, and I have had girlfriends, friends that are girls my entire life, and they always come like, I'm good to talk to. Like I've got sisters, like I understand this thing. And sometimes I even ask them, I'm like, do you want me to like give you a solution, or do you want me to just listen? I'm like, just listen. And then a lot of times like they'll like be talking about some problem. I'm like, well, you could do this, this, or this. And they'll be like, I don't want your solutions, Richard. I want you to just listen to what I have to say. And I'm like, I did listen and I've calculated a perfect solution. Do you want it? Like,
oh, look, another man who thinks his opinion is valid.
Thank you, Andrew.
That's what they would say. Yeah, I think.
So all women would say that? Andrew?
No.
Are you a reverse misogynist?
No, I'm just putting a tag group on what your comment was.
Okay, cool.
There's a tag group on Facebook called "Oh, look, another man who has an opinion or who has an unwanted opinion" or something like that. Yeah, it's basically a lot of times
I get so annoyed when people.
Well, the thing is the reason why I think maybe you feel like you're getting those responses a lot of times too is because it comes from, like you said, if someone's telling you something in your brain, you're like, oh, they're coming to me because they want my advice or like a solution to a problem. But
they want me for a problem solve.
Sometimes they just want you to be just someone to talk to or whatever.
A sounding board or something.
Like I don't necessarily want your opinion. I just want like to talk or whatever. Like, you know, or whatever. You might have to tighten that.
No, that's fine. I got it. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think a lot of times guys want to be the fixers. Like we want to be like, oh, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And like,
I think that's just nature. Like
yeah,
evolutionarily
I'm not denying
speaking,
that that's nature,
like
but I'm just saying that's why
solution.
that's why there's sometimes the disconnect and there's just like a fine line you have to dance around, like figuring out if people actually want your opinion or your advice or if they're just like stating something. Or whatever.
And that's something that I've learned over time is to ask.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, be like, I need to talk to you about something. It's like, and this is, again, call me a journalist, but with girls. Like, I had a friend come over last night. He showed up, knocked on my door, started telling me a story about something he was going through. And I was like, oh, he's telling me because he wants my advice. He wants my opinion. Cool. So I just like tell him my opinion. But like flip that switch and a girl comes over, knocks on my door and starts telling me a story. I'm like, she might be just telling me a story to tell me a story. I just might be the one person that, you know, that she can get it all out, you know, like I might, you know, so I'll ask, I'll be like, do you want me to like, be like, do you want me to say, like, do you want me to do, like, I can help you with this if you want it. And sometimes they'll be like, no, like, I already know what I need to do. I just wanted to, you know, bitch about it for a little while. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I get it. But I feel like it seems to be more of a female trait than a male trait. I don't know. I just feel like men are naturally good problem solvers. You know, we're the hunter types, and, you know, women are more of the gatherer, communication, you know, like nurturing, like parental, community driven people. And a lot of the times they're just talking to talk. They don't really necessarily want a solution.
I don't know if I agree with that 100%, but I agree with the tendencies. Like, sure. I just don't like when you say men are naturally problem solvers. It's like, nah, that sounds kind of dick.
No, I mean that in the sense of like
women just want to talk. Men are problem solvers. Men get shit done, but women just want to gather and fucking talk in the fields while they gather the strawberries.
That's legitimately what I mean. I mean, like in the evolutionary perspective, like take us back hundreds of thousands of years.
I know, but that's very
men were problem solvers.
I know, but I agree, but like
it's inbred. It's bred into our genes.
You're
solve the problem of eating today. Find food. Hunt. Like,
find the problem of the baby is crying and why it's fucking crying. Does it want milk or does it want fucking food or does it want, like, there's also problems that women solve like all the time that are problems. Like,
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Men solve the, oh, we need food problem. I killed the fucking pig. Like, yeah, the fucking 2 + 2 problems. Yes, we're good at solving those problems. Women are very good at solving like empathetic problems, and like that's why people want a woman for certain things and a man for certain things. Like if I'm gonna go get a personal trainer or whatever, I want a dude that looks like how I want to look. I'm not gonna get a girl personal trainer because I don't want to look like her. You know what I mean?
Or an overweight male personal trainer. Those are my favorite.
If I want to go, for example, have a babysitter, or again, that's a fucking bad example because people are like, oh, okay, yeah, women are just to take care of kids.
You were an au pair. So.
I was an au pair too, but I'm just saying, like, there are stereotypically things that it's like, oh, that's a man's job or whatever. But there are things that people want women to do and don't want men to do, and there are things that people want men to do and women to do. And I just think that you saying, well, men are just naturally better problem solvers is kind of bullshit.
I never said better. I just said
you were naturally problem solvers. Okay, naturally problem solvers. Women are not naturally problem solvers. Like, different problem. Life is literally about solving problems. So
Agreed.
I just don't agree with like
my statement was generalist.
Yeah, I don't really agree. But I'm not saying that to be like, oh, but well, I have to pander. I'm literally just saying like there's also a lot of things that I think like I'm inherently not good at solving.
And I don't disagree with that. You know, like I come from a family of strong women. You know, like I have 2 older sisters and a mom that were, you know, what I would consider like some OG feminists. They would never call themselves feminists, but like they worked hard for their own money. They took care of a family. They provided, you know, they were strong-willed. They were independent. Like that's the model that I have.
Yeah,
and
I
even
guess,
like, you know, like strong-willed, independent, you know.
I guess here's the thing that I just have a problem with in general. I hate being like, well, I'm a man, so I'm this. It's the same fucking thing as going, well, I'm a Gemini, so I'm this. I'm a woman, so I'm this. No, dude, you're a fucking complex human being. Like, there's no reason why, like, oh, well, I'm a man, so I'm this way. Oh, you're just a woman, so you're this way. Like, that's the same thing as being like, oh, well, I'm a Scorpio and you're a fucking Cancer, so we're just not compatible. It's like, no.
Great way to cut out, you know, like 80% of the dating pool.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's just fucking stupid to say. And I think that's where a lot of people have problems is they generalize and they put people in a box because they don't want to like accept that someone like they're projecting like my mom was this way, so all women are this way, or my sister was always nagging me about this, so all women nag, or like, you know, just like things like that.
Yeah, or people that have had experiences in a bubble, like the whole all men are trash conversation. It's like you may have had experience with 10 dudes that were trash, but that does not mean all men are trash.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I like...
Or like all women are sluts. It's like...
Well, that's what... Dude, that's why I like being in those polar opposite Facebook groups, because I see it, I get to see the arguments from both sides, because it's funny because in the sometimes I will literally have to check, and I almost play a game with myself where I'm like, is this a post that a woman is posting in the men are trash group calling out a dude, or is this a post from a dude that's just being a straight up misogynist like dick? And I don't know whether like, and I have to guess, I'm like, oh, this is a girl calling a guy out, or this is a guy thinking that this is reality. You know what I mean? And it's funny because that's, I like being in those polar opposite groups because I get to see it from both sides. I'm like, oh, you're right. It doesn't feel good when if any woman like makes some post about women being something, there's guaranteed always a dude gonna hop in there and be like, well, actually, it's like, I didn't fucking want your well, actually, motherfucker. You know, like, there's always a well, actually type fucking fedora guy, or a fucking like alpha fucking, oh, well, actually, it's like, no, oh, look, another dude with an opinion I don't fucking give a shit about, you know?
I think, so we can look at like femininity and masculinity. I think there are, you know, alpha males and alpha females. I think there are beta males and beta females. And I don't actually believe in that term alpha and beta, but I just mean it on a spectrum of like, there's some women out there that are like,
run shit.
There's women that are like, listen, tell you what, if you don't cook, clean, and suck your man's dick, you're a piece of shit woman. You know, like there's women that will say that. And then there's guys on the other side being like, yay. And then there's dudes that will say something like the opposite, be like, man, if you're not, you know, the type of person who, you know, provides for your family and, you know, and doesn't make a lot of money, and man, if you go out and you don't drive the car, if your girl drives a car, you're a bitch. You know, it's like those spectrums exist, and then the opposite spectrums exist, and everyone in between.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I tend to just rely on my own life experience, which is limited. I'm a white dude. You know what I mean? Like, so like I can only rely on my own personal life experience, but I don't get it from Facebook groups, but there are other places where I'll see, you know, like, you know, feminist conversations or feminist rants, or like my sister, for example. My sister is, you know, probably one of the more stronger, highly opinionated feminist women I know. And, you know, even when it comes to talking about like, you know, race or other marginalized groups, she married a black guy. She's got 2 black kids. So this is like very, very close to her heart, you know, where she and I will have, you know, like back and forths about something. And then I'll be like, oh, I was wrong about that. Or afterwards I'll be like, oh, you're crazy. You know, like it's, you know, it's just conversations that we have that I'm always open to conversations, and like, sure, maybe my opinions about things are just, rooted in, my experience or what I believe or what I don't believe, and yours and yours.
Well, I think it's also,
I don't mean to generalize. If I did generalize, oops.
Yeah,
but it's just like,
for
that's
example,
been my experience.
Yeah, I think you just always have to leave room for the other person, because when you are trying to like argue a point, but you're not, but like both sides are like kind of saying the same thing, you can still have like a very big disconnect, because you're not putting it in the like for example, in the last podcast, I said right out front, I'm like, I'm not a climate change denier. Like I said that right out front. But if I was like, dude, the fires in Australia have nothing to do with climate change, blah, 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 blah. Some people will take that grain and go, oh, Andrew's a fucking idiot and doesn't believe in climate change. And that's what they take from it. The other thing that someone could have taken from what you said is like, well, Richard said that women, all they want to do is tell stories. And he said he had the perfect solution anytime someone comes with them someone comes with them with an opinion or whatever. Mm-hmm. But that's not exactly what you were saying. You're like, what you were saying was when people come to me, I try to make a logical conclusion to it, but sometimes that's not what people want, which is a perfectly fine thing to say.
Yes.
But people will pick and choose what they want to hear, because again, when you go out into the world searching for a truth and that you're trying to prove to be true, every freaking, if you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail,
Yeah. And like, I kind of funny to steer this in one way. Like, I know that there are like disability groups on Facebook that trash the living shit out of me.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know this is because I have some covert ops that are a part of that group that will like DM me from the side, be like, hey, I just want to let you know that, this whole group is really mad at you for this video you put out and this thing you said, but like, I defended you, and I just want to let you know that like, I understand where you're coming from, but they only saw like this one little thing that you said out of context and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool. Like, that's fine. I mean, I think that is just a part of what happens whenever you share any opinions publicly ever, is like people take things out of context. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want the full episode, you can click right here. If you want to subscribe, click here. If you want more clips, we got 2 more right over here.